52 Pickup is a play about a couple, and you see the relationship out of sequence in 52 scenes. And each scene's title is written on a different card of a deck of playing cards. And the first thing that happens in the show is the playing cards get thrown up in the air and they scatter all over the stage, and the actors choose a card at random. They pick it up, they read the title, and then they perform the scene. And then when that scene is done, they pick up the next card, and they read the title, and they perform that scene, and they keep doing that until they've gotten to the end of all 52 scenes. So that tells everything about the life of this couple, from before they met, to what they were looking for in a relationship, to how they met, to what it was like to be in a relationship, to what it was like when the relationship kind of broke apart, and what it was like when they broke up, and what it was like when they met accidentally, randomly on the street a year after. But it's in a different order every single time. So if people see it multiple times, they'll see a different show every time, even though the content is the same.
The play is so much about relationships in your 20s. And at the moment, every member of the Howland Company is in their 20s. Everybody has experience with breakups and falling in love. Everyone in the company right now is in a different place in that spectrum too. We have people who are just getting out of a tough relationship and people who are just jumping into a relationship. So it really suits our mandate, because the Howland Company is really about creating work for ourselves and exploring stories that speak to our ages, our generation. So it was very fitting that this play came along at this time.
Yeah, watching other people do 52 Pickup has been really interesting. Most of my career has been me performing my own stuff, or me directing other people, or co-writing with somebody else doing something that I had never done. But then to see somebody reinterpret something I have done is fascinating, because 52 Pickup is intentionally written with a lot of scenes offering a lot of flexibility. So there's a lot of room for the actors and the director and the designers to add their own interpretation. And I always find things I never had. And that's tremendously exciting. Because on the one hand, this came from me, but on the other hand, it's got a life of its own. And it's continuing to grow and to breathe. And I love seeing that.
We thankfully work in a company in which all of those relationships exist. And it was really exciting for us to be able to say, this play, which is actually only written for a man and a woman, has the potential to be much more than that, and can speak to more than just men and women in relationships, but to relationships in general. And that's sort of, I think, when we were talking about casting, what we were trying to expose a bit in the play, and what we wanted to investigate as directors is how this play speaks to relationships on the whole.
It's a grand experiment just by virtue of the structure of the show. You have 52 scenes that every single night can be performed in a totally randomized order, and we're doing it with 4 different casts. So right off the bat, you learn so much about a story by watching one person play the part, and then the next day watching somebody else play the same part. These different couplings illuminate different parts of the text every time, and force us as directors in one of our first directing experiences to really examine what is important in this story, and how the magic that is having somebody do something that seems to make the story so clear, and then the next day somebody else does something completely different that still yields that same result. It's kind of like a master lab of communication, of acting.
Life don't fade.